They say the camera adds 10 pounds, but in my case, it added a life sentence of social infamy. My name is Maya, and for 5 years, I was the better half of the Max and Maya show. We were YouTube royalty. We didn't just have followers, we had a congregation. We sold the dream. The white teeth smiles, the coordinated outfits, the spontaneous kisses under the Eiffel Tower that took 6 takes to get right. Max was the architect of our digital empire. He was a man who saw the world in hooks and retention rates. To him, our marriage wasn't a covenant. It was content. He lived for the gotcha moment, the elaborate pranks that pushed the boundaries of sanity. I remember him once faking a home invasion just to see if I'd protect the gear or protect the dog. I chose the dog. The comments section called me a hero. Max called me bad for the ROI. By our 4th year, I was a hollow shell. I hated the ring lights. I hated the way he'd pause our real arguments to check if the lapel mic was clipping. I was looking for an exit, but the Maya brand was worth $50 million, and according to my prenup, if I walked away with nothing but the clothes on my back. That's when I met Marcus. He was our head of security, a former tactical officer who didn't care about subscribers. He was the only person who looked at me and didn't see a thumbnail. Our affair started in the shadows of the production trailer. It wasn't just physical, it was a conspiracy. We began funneling production expenses into an offshore account in the Cayman Islands. We were building a nest egg for a life where the cameras were permanently turned off. But Marcus was greedy, and I was desperate. We started talking about the ultimate exit. If Max died, the production company, the real estate, and the $20 million life insurance policy all defaulted to me. No prenup, no drama. Just a tragic accident for a man who lived a high-risk life for the views. Then came our 5th anniversary. Max told me he was planning something legendary. "This is the one, Maya," he said, his eyes gleaming with that manic energy that always signaled a high-budget stunt. A 3-hour live stream, the true love test. We're going out on the yacht. Just us, the ocean, and 5 million people watching the Total Honesty segment. It's going to break the internet. I felt a cold shiver. Marcus and I had already discussed the boat. It was the perfect location. No witnesses, no cameras, except for the ones Max brought. The night of the stream, the yacht was a floating television studio. GoPros were suction cupped to every railing. A heavy, professional-grade cinema camera sat on a gimbal in the center of the deck, broadcasting a 4K feed via satellite. The chat was projected onto a massive 70-inch monitor on the deck so we could interact with the fans. We were 5 miles off the coast of Malibu. The sun had dipped below the horizon, leaving the world in a bruised purple twilight. We were an hour into the stream. Max was playing the role of the doting husband, holding my hand and talking about our journey. "I have to check the stern camera," Max said suddenly. "The feed is flickering. Be right back, guys. Keep talking to the fans, baby." He walked to the edge of the boat. He climbed onto the railing, holding a small camera, leaning out over the churning black water of the Pacific. It was the exact move we had rehearsed in my head 1,000 times. "Max, be careful," I shouted, the good wife instinct kicking in for the audience. "I got it, He slipped. It wasn't a stuntman's fall. It was a clumsy, frantic flailing of limbs. He let out a sharp, jagged scream that was cut short by the thwack of his body hitting the water. I ran to the railing. I looked down. I saw his head surface once, twice. He was struggling. He wasn't wearing a life vest. The chat on the monitor was exploding. "Call the Coast Guard." "Is this real?" "Max, no!" I stood there. I didn't reach for the life ring 3 feet away. I didn't hit the SOS button on the dash. I stood at the railing and watched the spot where he went under until the ripples disappeared. I looked at the cinema camera. I knew I had to play the part, but the adrenaline, the pure, intoxicating realization that I was finally free, overwhelmed my acting. I walked over to the soundboard Max had set up on the deck. He'd shown me the mute all button earlier. I pressed it firmly. The little red light on the console went dark. I thought I was in a cone of silence. I pulled my burner phone from my waistband and dialed Marcus. He picked up on the first ring. "It happened," I said, my voice dropping the YouTube pitch and turning into something low and predatory. "He's gone, Marcus. He actually fell. I didn't even have to push him. The stupid prick died for his own content." Marcus's voice came through, sounding strange, hollow. "Are you sure, Maya? Is he dead?" "He's at the bottom of the ocean. The current is pulling him out." I laughed, a sharp, manic sound that echoed off the hull. "The plan worked perfectly. I'll do the crying widow act in 5 minutes. We're rich. We're finally out of this circus. I never have to look at his stupid, smiling face again." I hung up. I felt like I was glowing. I walked back to the cinema camera, leaning in close, looking directly into the lens. I wanted to see my own reflection in the glass. "I guess the prank is on you, Max," I whispered, thinking the audio was dead. "Rest in peace. I'm going to spend your money on things you'd hate. I'm going to delete this channel and burn your legacy to the ground." I poured a glass of the vintage champagne Max had bought for the celebration. I toasted the empty ocean. I sat in the captain's chair, legs crossed, waiting for enough time to pass to make my frantic call to 911. Then the yacht's PA system hummed. It wasn't the sound of the wind. It was the sound of a notification ping. The sound of a YouTube super chat. "Thanks for the $500 donation, Maya Isakiller," a voice boomed from the speakers. It was Max's voice. I froze. My heart stopped. I looked at the 70-inch monitor. The chat wasn't moving anymore. It was frozen on a single image. A second camera feed. It was a shot from inside the water. Max was there, wearing a black, low-profile diving mask and an oxygen rebreather. He was clinging to a hidden platform on the side of the hull, just inches below the waterline. He was holding a waterproof tablet, and he was smiling. "Check your settings, Maya." The PA system crackled. Max's voice was coming from a microphone hidden in my own champagne glass. The mute button on the console? That was just a MIDI controller. It didn't mute the stream. It just changed the camera angle to the Death Watch view. I looked at the stream on the monitor. It showed a picture-in-picture view. One half was me, sitting with my champagne, laughing about his death. The other half was Max, alive and well. "And Marcus?" Max continued, as a jet ski roared out of the darkness, lights flashing. "Marcus has been working for me since the day you started skimming the offshore account. He's a security consultant, Maya. My security, not yours." Marcus pulled the jet ski alongside the boat. He didn't look at me. He helped Max climb onto the deck. Max stood there, dripping wet, looking like a ghost returned from the deep. He didn't hit me. He didn't even yell. He just walked over to the cinema camera and addressed the 5 million people who had just witnessed a confession. "And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the true love test," Max said, his voice perfectly modulated for the microphone. "Don't forget to like and subscribe for the courtroom footage. It's going to be a long season." The Coast Guard wasn't just standing by. They were already boarding the boat. Marcus had provided them with the full, unedited recordings of our planning sessions from the production trailer. I was arrested on the deck of my own yacht, wearing a $5,000 dress, while the red REC light on the camera continued to blink. Max didn't turn it off. He kept it rolling as they handcuffed me. He kept it rolling as I screamed at Marcus. He kept it rolling until the very moment the police cruiser doors shut on the pier. The just desserts weren't just served. They were monetized. Max used the footage to create a 10-part docuseries called The Anniversary Widow. It became the most watched true crime series in history. He didn't just take my freedom. He took my narrative. I'm writing this from a cell in a state penitentiary. Every Tuesday, the other inmates gather in the common room to watch Max's latest vlog. He has a new girlfriend now, a lifestyle influencer who looks remarkably like me. They do reaction videos to my old trial footage. I thought Max was the fool who lived for the clout. I thought I was the one playing the long game. But Max understood the one law of the digital age that I ignored. In a world built on data, there is no such thing as a secret. Every heart rate spike, every muted conversation, and every hidden vault is just a file waiting to be opened. I'm no longer a royalty. I'm just a data point in his most successful social experiment. And the worst part? Even now in this dark cell, I catch myself wondering what the view count is today.